All right, yeah, thank you, Renata. So, again, my name is Lee Burge, Professor of Computer Science at Howard University, and I'm the current PI of the Data Science Training Corps, which is part of a larger initiative that Renata talked about called AIMAHEAD, which stands for Artificial Intelligence Machine Learning Consortium to Advance Health Equity and Research Diversity. I won't spend too much time on this because she did give you a nice overview, but just conceptually, so you can have a conceptual view of this. NIH is funding basically an initiative because they believe untapped potential to contribute new expertise, new recruitment strategies, cutting edge science to AI and ML can come from underrepresented communities. And so we're really trying to increase participation and engagement with these underrepresented communities to produce future researchers and also aid in scaling up and upskilling, current researchers to use AI and ML to, model applications that pretty much are health disparities for those underrepresented populations. Excuse me. For some reason, there it goes. Okay. All right. So there's a big coordinating center, and the coordinating center has 4 cores involved. And so again, I'm the PI of the Data Science Training Corps, and it's kind of a weird thing. This was funded by what is called an OTA. This is my first time actually being involved in the OTA mechanism, but it's not a grant, it's not a contract. it's just something a little bit more flexible. But when we went through this process, it was very intense. It was like a 1-week process where we had to submit, applications. Then we had to do a pitch, to NIH. And then what ended up happening is NIH took what they thought were some of the best proposals, and they brought everybody together. So there were multiple leadership proposals. They brought all them together and put them, and they said, okay, now you guys go form a core. And there were multiple infrastructure proposals. And they said, you guys go form the infrastructure core, and the data science, the data research core as well. And then for the data science training core, we already had a consortium of universities that we went in. And so we did not get, we didn't have a forced marriage as some of the other groups, okay? So I won't talk through each one of these. I'll definitely leave the slides for you guys. I want to really focus on the data science training core and just what the purpose of it is. Okay, and this was directly from the
research that happens with protected data.
Oh, excuse me. All right, so so the data science training core, our purpose is pretty much to identify training needs and gaps, and develop training and workforce development resources. And we want to develop training around AI and ML and health disparities research, but we also are involving training for related competencies. So as you see, there's a vast amount of competencies there, from cloud computing, distributed computing, but also even prerequisite type knowledge. So, to get someone that's a practitioner to do actual data science and AI and ML, maybe they might not have some of the mathematical prerequisites. So they're actually saying, well, how can we upskill these people if they want to engage in any form of practice using AI and ML? It's expected that, whatever we create, the engagements involve very hands-on pedagogy and inquire and use real data, from real data sets, from EHR data as well as public data. You can see the large team that we have here at Howard. I won't go into the details, but we, there's a lot of interest across faculty, from our hospital, from our dental school, from our nursing, allied health and pharmacy, from arts and science, and also from computer science and engineering. And so we have like an AI ML center of excellence. We have a new center for applied data science, and we have obviously PhD, bachelor's to PhDs in computer science, as well as a master's in applied data science. So we're well positioned to lead the effort. But we have a lot of partners too as well. Our partners are MedStar Health and University of Maryland and Georgetown universities. And we were working together prior to this for 15 years through an effort called GUTS, which stands for the Georgetown Howard Center for Clinical and Translational Science. We actually offer a certificate and a master's degree in that area. But we also have partners with Oak Ridge National Labs and the DC VA Medical Center. So again, leveraging all our strengths, we all came together for this initiative with 3 goals. One, wanted to identify training needs and gaps, and then classify them into near, mid, and long-term initiatives. Second, we wanted to develop and expand and strengthen existing educational programs at the certificate, undergraduate, graduate, and professional levels, and really focus on, training a new generation of minority and underrepresented populations to become future researchers. And then third, being able to coordinate all of these efforts across all the different cores and the stakeholders that are involved. So we wanted to kind of look at how we can impact, who we can impact in the time scale that we can impact them. So in the 1 to 2 year, well, let me scroll back. The initiative is $100 million, 2-year effort. And you can say, well, what are you going to get done in a 2-year effort? So that's the big question. So it's a 2-year effort, but the grant opportunity renews every 2 years. And what's going to happen is we're going to be opening up for new partners to come into the consortium, over time. So we're like the first, I guess we're the first sets of partners that are coming onto the initiative. And so in the near term, we want to make sure that we can target, in the 1 to 2 year timeframe, early career faculty, research faculty, and scientists and postdocs, obviously practitioners in the medical field. In the midterm, we want to leverage existing programs so we can expand the pool, get more students that are in computer science and engineering mathematics to say, hey, there is a career opportunity for you to take your skill set and apply it to health disparities in that particular field. So looking at BS, master's, PhD programs, but also how can we take a non-engineering program and then integrate curriculum in those programs as well to use AI and machine learning. In the long term, we want to look at how we can look at existing workforce and provide opportunities to upskill or reskill those. We also want to look at the undergraduate level, how can we get more students to go into the field of computer science and data science that don't have that background, because traditionally those fields are like elitist. You have to have the prerequisites and knowledge, and most underrepresented groups they haven't been exposed to computer science early as their counterparts. So how do we get them into a program? How do we bridge them into graduate programs where they can sit side by side in a traditional program with students that may have that background, and they don't experience or we lessen the imposter syndrome that may occur because of the bridging that we do. And then obviously we want to look at national programs that are offered at the high school level. So we provide various training pathways from high school. Our goal is to provide pathways from high school all the way up to practitioners, faculty, postdocs, research practitioners. And so again, this right here kind of explains I guess in detail what we're offering to the community. And that community is partners. So our partners are the people that, the organizations and people that are involved with developing the center, the coordinating center. But we have stakeholders. So our stakeholders are students, our faculty, practitioners, workforce, people in the workforce. And so we want to be able to provide these pathways for our stakeholders. And the model that we've chosen is through grants and training opportunities. And so for high school students, we want to provide a way for stakeholders to be able to get a grant to develop modules to support existing national programs or local programs that they may have in their area. And hopefully it seeds or inspires students to go on and to go on to undergraduate degree programs in data science or computer science. But we also want to look at workforce development and also students that may be an undergrad that may want to go into a career in data science. And so how do we bridge them? And so the idea is to come up, we have at Howard University, and through our consortium, we have a 4-course sequence, as well as some wraparound support that allows students to, try out the major, and the tuition is subsidized. So it's like they kind of try before they buy. And the idea, as they're taking those 4 sequence courses, we're integrating some content from the data science certificate program from Google, as well as giving foundation in programming, algorithms, data, and so forth. And again, the mentoring and wraparound support, so that if they so choose to hopefully go into a master's or a master's degree program in data science or CS, the transition is a little bit less of a burden. But if they don't so choose, let's say they, for some reason, life happens and, they have to do some other things, they at least get a Google certificate at the end of the day. For existing students at the bachelor's and master's and PhD levels, what we hope to do is provide opportunities for them to, take courses, that are developed through this process. So what we're assuming is that faculty members, researchers, and so forth could, apply to mini grants to, develop courses. We also want to look at new career faculty and allow them the opportunity to be able to buy out of a course, with the assumption that they would create a course and offer the course on their campuses. We also want to offer grant opportunities for people to develop modules, again, to go into existing courses, primarily, non-computer science or engineering focus. We also want to offer opportunities for professional development. So, a researcher or practitioner or a faculty member or organization could offer workshops, seminars, boot camps, executive training, or conferences for those opportunities. And then we wanted to have some opportunity for students, master's and PhD students, to get research training practicums. So we wanted to allow them to apply to programs where we would provide assistance throughout an entire year and place them in one of our partners' facilities, working with a mentor. And then obviously outreach at the undergraduate level, but also at the K-12 level. Again, developing modules or developing entire programs to increase to expand the population. And we hope that through all these different programs, we hope to expand the pool. One thing that I do want to talk about is that all of the curriculum that's being developed will utilize real data from EHR or public data, and the laboratories and projects should involve hands-on pedagogy. We hope that one of our main goals is to make sure that all of the everything we do is inclusive, and so we wanted to make sure that the content and the curriculum that are being developed are socially and culturally relevant pedagogy, and they also involve social and environmental determinants of health, focus on structural racial inequities, race, gender, and ethnicity as constructs for health disparities. So those are some of the requirements that we're going to put in the funding announcements as we start to disseminate them. The last thing, everything is kind of what we hope is we have to look at sustainability, and so we were charged with developing a help desk to support all of the initiatives. And so what we see, we envision is that, all of the content that is created becomes open sourced through some, let's say, a Creative Commons license. And it's canned such that anyone can take it and use it, remix it for their own purposes. But we also wanted to have wraparound help desk support so that if anyone has questions, they can easily engage in what we call a community of practice, so that this could live and grow on its own, assuming the funding goes away at some point. We don't know when that may be, but right now they're saying it's till Congress says they don't want to do it anymore. They'll continue to fund it. So just two more slides, just so you can get an idea of how you potentially could gauge, assuming that you're one of these potential stakeholders. So for students, again, as I said before, they could take a course, attend workshops, seminars, conferences that are offered through the consortium. They can apply for training practicums. They can get support through the help desk. They can apply to the Bridge program if they're a student that maybe from a non-CS, non-engineering, math background, to potentially go on to graduate programs. And they can support any kind of outreach initiatives because they will be looking for student assistance. Faculty members can apply for grants, collaborate with other members of the ACC to hopefully form training opportunities and or new courses. Can apply for grants and serve as mentors for students that have applied for practicums. They too can also get support and engage in community practice. They can also apply for grants for course buyout and also provide opportunities for outreach as well. Practitioners, postdocs can do a similar thing as faculty, and then workforce. Anyone in the workforce could take class, take any of the existing courses, attend workshops, but they can also apply to Bridge programs. So we think that there's going to be a lot here for workforce. You got boot camps and so forth. So we think a lot of we think we'll have a lot of applications for people that want to stand up these kinds of things for workforce. External partners, again, we do have commitments from South, the South Big Data Hub and various other members. This is just the beginning of some of the partners. We're getting a lot of requests for additional partners to come online. But we see partners playing various roles, and I just kind of outline a lot of them here. With industry, again, we want to alleviate as much friction as possible. So we've got some commitments for licenses and credits towards computational resources. But a lot of industry has curriculum as well. So we want to make that available to course developers who apply to grants to create these courses. For conferences and workshops, again, we have a similar agreement. For practicums, our process is a mini grant model, as I said before, where practitioners or partnered organizations could apply for grant opportunities. And so we're going to need reviewers that will come from the community. So obviously partners could serve as reviewers, and they provide technical support for the resources that they are providing. Organizations like South Big Data Hub, definitely can help out with, curriculum, access to members for disseminating funding announcements, identifying resources. They can also apply to grants. So I could see conferences and things like that they could apply for, again, assuming that it's catered towards the same goals as the AIMAHEAD initiative. And then again, medical resource or medical and health organizations and laboratories. We've gotten a lot of commitment for, again, data, compute power as well.